Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Natchbull, Chairman of Housing, Health and Environment Policy Advisory Committee, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this meeting of the committee. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded for playback on the Council's YouTube channel. Will anyone else be recording the proceedings? Thank you. I ask so that people at the meeting will know if this will be happening. If the fire alarm sounds during the meeting, please remain seated, and members of the Democratic Services team will assess the situation and give further instructions on the evacuation of the building if necessary. Item 1 is apologies. Apologies have been received from Councillor Rose and Councillor Khadka. Are there any other apologies? No? Okay, thank you. Can any substitutes present state their attendance, please? Thank you.
Councillor Clive English substituting for Councillor Khadka. Unfortunately, however, as this is a late resubstitution because Councillor Conyard was going to do it and he's ill, I will have to leave fairly soon, about half an hour or so, because I'm due at Bearsted Parish Council. Well, I've already arranged with Councillor Spooner to come and pick me up, so I better be at the right place.
Thank you.
Councillor Joanna Wilkinson for Councillor Margaret Rose.
Thank you very much. Item 3, urgent items. There are no urgent items. Item 4, notification of visiting members. Are there any visiting members?
Councillor Cleaser just observing.
Thank you. Item 5, disclosures by members and officers. Are there any disclosures by members or officers? No, thank you. Item 6, disclosures of lobbying. Are there any disclosures? No. Item 7, to consider whether any items should be taken in private. I move that all items be taken in public. Is this agreed? Thank you. Item 8, minutes of the meeting held on 12th of December 2023. Do any members have any comments on the accuracy of the minutes? No, thank you. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on 12th of December 2023 be approved as a correct record and signed. Is that agreed? Thank you. Item 9, forward plan relating to the committee's terms of reference that can be found on pages 4 to 11. Are there any comments on the forward plan, or does the Cabinet member wish to make any comments? No other comments? Thank you. I move that the forward plan be noted. Is that agreed? Thank you. You might get away on time, actually. Okay, thanks. Item 10, medium-term financial strategy 2024 to 2029, the capital programme, which can be found on pages 12 to 25. I understand this is to be introduced by Councillor Parfitt-Reid.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This report sets out the proposed 24-25 to 2033-34 capital programme for the HHE PAC responsibilities. Tongue-tied tonight. The report forms part of the process of agreeing a budget for 24-25 and setting next year's council tax. The HHE PAC capital programme totals 303.4 million, which forms the largest elements of the overall programme of 434 million, eye-watering amounts. The contents of the report, it outlines the overall size of the capital programme. It describes the individual schemes within the remit of this committee. The main items relate to housing, which is our affordable and private rented, and also temporary accommodation properties. This reflects the decision to complete this within 2 years instead of 3. I think we discussed this at the last time this item came to the committee. Note that no private rental sector housing is shown in years 7 to 10 of the capital programme. This is not intended to indicate that the council will move away from promoting a mixture of tenures in the future, rather that there have been no specific schemes with a PRS component identified in those years. It is important to remember the approved capital programme is not approval to spend. Prior to any capital commitment being entered into, a detailed report setting out full project appraisal and the detailed financial projections is considered by the relevant service committee. So this report recommends agree the capital programme for 24-25 onwards as set out in Appendix B, and note that the agreement to the recommendation above will be subject to the prudential borrowing limit which is recommended to Council as part of the Treasury Management Strategy of 24-25. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor English.
A couple of observations. Firstly, may I say that following the discussion at the Scrutiny Committee and the Waste Crime Review, which I'm sure you're part of, I would very much welcome the comment here about the additional resources for the waste crime team of 40,000k, which is very welcome and needed. And secondly, an observation on the flood action plan where we see 350k. The scrutiny review on flooding and water management, flooding aspect of the water management cycle review, which we did, included a significant discussion about natural flood management mitigation areas and pilot schemes. I wouldn't have described those as small scale, which is the term used there. So I'm hoping there's not a diminution of the ambition, because Mark Green, as the relevant officer, did seem very, very keen to bring forward those schemes which contribute both to natural flood mitigation and biodiversity. So I'm just seeking some reassurance that we're still going down that path.
I think the ambition still is there. I mean, you will know that we've got the scheme that's hopefully coming forward in Staplehurst, and we've already got one in Marden already, which is actually in my county division, which is a fantastic scheme. I mean, it's huge, and you know, if you ever wanted to go and visit it, the farmers there, I'm sure, would show you around. I mean, the biodiversity net gain there has been amazing, but I think these things, as I'm sure you know, one of them is not enough. We need 20, you know, and then it starts to make a difference. But yes, the ambition is certainly there, but it's obviously allocating that or finding that land that people are prepared to put forward. But certainly it's something that I've always felt is very important and I've always supported. Thank you.
Councillor Springett.
Thank you. I mean, I echo what Councillor English has said. My only comment is I'd love to see a bit more for the waste crime team. I think this department, they do some tremendous work, and fly tipping and issues along those lines are very hot potatoes for the public. So I just would like to flag it up that perhaps next year I'd like to see a slightly bigger figure there, because that could get eaten up pretty quickly. And I know the team are busy, so I'm just flagging up. I'm happy with the report, but I'm just flagging up. I'd like to see that be a bit bigger next year. Thank you. It's a good start, but I think we need more. Thank you.
Councillor Jeffrey.
Thank you. I think it's probably a question for Councillor Garton almost. We had a conversation here in September about toilet replacements, the 5 or so toilet blocks around the borough, and I'd hoped to see some form of refurbishment, capital refurbishment programme in here. I can't see one. Are you still interested in doing that, or has that passed by?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Jeffrey, this is really a question for property services. It's a slightly different budget, which doesn't really fall under this committee. I was just informed by the officer, but we are looking into the toilet situation. It's still on our radar.
Councillor Jeffrey.
So can I ask that it appears when the final papers go to Cabinet, please, or not? If we can have a definite one way or another, it would be very helpful because I'd like to see it done, even if it isn't this committee technically.
Yeah, so just to confirm, I will do some digging to check it's in the corporate services pack for tomorrow. If not, we can. Okay, then I can ask some questions as to what they're doing or not, and then get at least some feedback for you, and then you can feed into that process then.
Yeah, I'm afraid we have to leave it like that for tonight, but please ask that question tomorrow. And if you don't get satisfactory answers tomorrow, please get back to me internally. Just a quick word what Councillor Springett said about the waste crime team. Yeah, they do a fantastic job. The capital should get them moving and become self-supporting, because we increase the fines, and any fines we're taking in now will be reinvested in the team. So in the ideal world, if we nab as many litter loads and fly tippers as possible, the more money goes into the team without having the council taxpayer to fund that service.
Thank you. Before we continue, welcome Councillor Hastie. Are there any disclosures that you would like to tell us about? No. And any disclosures of lobbying? No. I'm sure. Okay, thank you.
I'd just like a grand entrance as well, otherwise I'm a bit late.
So, would anyone else like to make any comments?
Just move the recommendation on the papers.
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. Is that agreed with everybody? Agreed. Thank you. Moving to item 11, provision of wheeled bins, pages 26 to 40, to be introduced by Councillor Garton. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Basically, this is just a summary of what happened over the last couple of months since we cancelled the charges for bin replacement. In the month, we learned a few lessons, so this policy sort of tidied up procedures, tidied up the lessons we learned. It formalizes obviously what we agreed, that bins which are no longer suitable for service will be replaced once they're marked off by the bins crew. That is particularly relevant to when the lip is being broken off, that the bin cannot be lifted into the vehicle. Same applies to the wheels. In the meantime, we also had further clarification regarding bin lids. If they're missing and the rain gets in, it's a lesson we learned once the rainy season started. Bin lids again qualifies a bin as not being suitable for the service if they're missing. What we never discussed in this chamber is the communal bins, the big steel bins. So we included that into this policy. Nothing has changed there, not in April and not in September. So it's just an update to bring this into the new policy as drafted. And finally, you will read something about the stickers, and then that the residents have to call in once they have the stickers. It's an operational question rather than a political question at the moment. I was informed by the team that when bins were then being replaced, the replacement crew coming out, that sometimes they couldn't locate the bins because people take the bins back into their houses, into the back garden. They don't leave them out at the roadside necessarily. And that caused a lot of problems. It is probably not satisfactory as a solution, and it sounds a bit convoluted at the moment. I would say let's wait until the new bin contract starts with Suez, and let's see whether with their new telematics they've got available we can even improve on that system. But that would be an operational procedure rather than a political procedure. But if you have any further questions, I think you should raise that with Mrs. Stevens, who's here this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Garton. Councillor Jeffrey.
Thank you. Yeah, I must say I do really welcome the proposed policy. I think it's really good. I have a question under the bit where it says residents are advised to put their house number on their bins. How are we advising residents to do that?
It's been a regular communication, so in all of our literature we do suggest you put stickers on bins. Any communication with the contact centre directly will advise that as well. If someone's moving into a property, this will be your bin, put a sticker on. There's the new All Waste Borough Insight that's coming out in the next a few weeks. I don't know the exact date, but say in the next sort of month or so, certainly before the changes, it's in there to make sure as many people know about that as possible. There are a lot of bins you see with numbers on, and as I said, it's something we've sort of stressed in various communications over the years to do that, just purely because people do get upset that bins sometimes don't come back to where they should do, because as the crews are putting on the back of the lorry, sometimes left and right gets mixed up. So it is a message we've always put, but take your point, we'll try and make sure that it's absolutely in every communication we put out there.
Thank you. Councillor Mortimer, then Councillor English. And Councillor Joy.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the additional bins and you can purchase an additional bin, are we putting a limit on this? Because I know it's always been a bit of a bone of contention over the years of how many bins you can actually have with residents, and I just wondered whether we were going to stick to 2, 3 perhaps, or...
The additional bins is only available for recycling, so we are encouraging recycling, and generally it is one. If you really need more than one recycle bin, we would certainly want to ask a question or two about the waste in your household.
When you drive around on a bin day and you see what's out there, you think to yourself, hang on, there's 3 there outside that property and there's 1 and 2, you know what I'm saying? So I think that from a resident's perspective, why can they have X amount and why can't we not?
It is all, we can't really guess what is behind the walls of the house. I mean, it may be an HMO. Obviously you see a lot of bins out at Gypsy and Traveller sites. We don't know how many people are living on those sites, so it's a bit of a guesswork, I would say. But as far as we're concerned, 1 black waste bin and maximum 2 recycling bins.
Sorry, I was going to say it could be they've got another property within their property, like a holiday let, and they'll pay council tax, so they might get another bin. Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Mortimer's raised one of the 2 points I was going to raise. Just to an observation that a lot of the houses in Maidstone do not in fact have numbers. So I think we have to be, be a little clearer with that message, because if you insisted on numbers in most of Lewes, you wouldn't get them because there aren't any numbers in those streets. So I hope that it is number or name of house, because there are a lot of properties that don't have them. On the recycling issue, all I would say is that in general, I think this is a significant improvement. It's not perfect, and as we go forward, we'll probably be able to make further improvements. But it is I think, a significant step forward from where we were previously. So well done.
Thank you, Councillor English. Yeah, I think I have to thank all my colleagues and the waste team to work very hard. And obviously, we learned our lessons of where we thought was a quick financial fix, and all parties agreed to it at the last budget. But obviously, sometimes the quick fixes don't work out as you imagined, and beware of unintended consequences. And this administration is quite happy to learn from our lessons and improve where necessary.
Thank you. I too think you've moved forward in the right direction, so well done everyone. But on the operational side, I was a little bit, when you talk about putting numbers on, I've never had numbers on my bin, but because I'm finding it very difficult to be in every Friday to go and find my black bin, and not only that, my big bins, but I will say, I'm in a terrace house and either side of mine, they have the numbers on there. And some of them are sticky and great big things with pictures and everything. But I very rarely get my bin put back in my property, and I've got an open drive. I have to go and collect it either from a neighbour or someone else. I think it's a two-way system that we've got to get in place. It's like saying it'll go in the borough about us as a resident doing this, but if the contractors are not doing it, who we're paying, that's saying it should be taken back to where they're collecting it from, it doesn't happen. And sometimes even the lids are not down, and then if the wind blows, you're chasing them down the road. So I think it's a two-way, you know, a bit of teamwork there, and maybe we could get it even better. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jeffrey.
I just wanted to obviously give, on the basis of that speech, I want to give a shout out and thanks to my bin men who do the opposite and always give my bin back. So I'm very grateful to them. I just wanted to move as per the papers, please.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, would you like to add to that, Councillor Garton?
Yeah, we just wanted to quickly respond back on the putting the bin back properly type of issue. Yeah, there have been sometimes problems, and I apologize for that. We can certainly send out messages to the crews to be more consistent and a bit more respectful to a resident's property. But it's all operational. We have winds, sometimes in autumn, bins are being blown over, that can happen. Sometimes bin crews are very much delayed due to obstructions, etc. They want to get their round done and finished before the day is out. So there's no excuse for rushing, but sometimes those guys simply have to rush. I think we have to have a bit of understanding for the team as well. No excuses here, but I just want to wave the flag for my team.
Sorry, Jen, did you want to add to that?
No, I was just going to sort of reiterate that we'll take it up, obviously, with our current contractor. However, I'm also more reassured that because of the amount of technology we have on the new vehicles, that we as the management team will have direct access to, we will have far greater capabilities of monitoring the crews, because amazingly when we do go out and monitor them, which we do, we have a team that go out and, you know, watch what they're doing, they have an amazing ability to spot you before you've even spotted yourself. So they start doing what they should be doing, and sometimes it is just trying to be there and catch. And there will always be, you know, rogue events or things like that, and that's where we need to address that. So thank you. And if you do have issues, let me know and I'll be on to them. No,
it really wasn't just me. I'm in a terrace row, so you're there and you're seeing it isn't just me. It is the road or the roads.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkinson.
Regarding the communal areas with the bins there, is there any options to have extra bins in the communal areas? Because only today I saw in Maidstone Matters overflowing bins, hundreds of bins in the bin bags in the communal bins, and it's very unsightly and not very nice.
Generally, I mean, there may be one or two that slip through the net, but generally all bin stores have the correct quantity of bins. So we still base it on 180 litres per fortnight of refuse per flat. And that was increased some while ago from it was originally 140 litres it was based on. So they should all have that capacity. And thereby, if residents of those properties aren't choosing to recycle properly and therefore producing more general waste or are contaminating the recycling bins, that's, if you let us know, we will then pick that up with the managing agents, because it's their responsibility to sort of manage their bin stores, their residents, to make sure they are recycling and doing the right thing. We can help, and we'll take the sort of education approach first, and if they don't, there are a few options available to them and us to make sure we resolve it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hastie.
Thank you. It's just a really quick question to Jen. You know, when bins get missed, and I don't mean like the garden bins, because we know the situation with those, but when a resident reports a black or recycling bin has been missed, I've had a couple of incidents where they're not coming back, and they're being sort of told, residents being told that the crews will come back and pick up the missed bins, but they're not. So we're kind of getting 2 weeks on Roberts will help black bins in particular. Is there a issue with that, or?
Bar Christmas, when actually catch-ups were significantly, because just the quantity of waste and recycling that was put out there, going back for missed bins was exceedingly difficult. With the exception of that, then no, they should be going back. There is an ability for, you know, we don't want to get to that point that a resident has to chase, but if they do, my team have that direct line in to require. They issue rectification notices to BIFA, which gives them a set amount of time to go back and resolve it, otherwise they get a financial penalty. So please ask residents to follow it up. Don't just, you know, I think what tends to happen is they think, oh, they haven't come back, and they wait and wait, whereas come back to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can we go back to the proposer, Councillor Jeffrey, and the seconder, Councillor Wilkinson? Sorry, Councillor English was the seconder, sorry. If everyone, should we put that to the vote if everyone's happy? All four. Thank you. That's passed. Thank you.
Appropriate moment to go. I do apologise for having to leave at this point.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Item 12, the 1,000 homes update, pages 41 to 153, to be introduced by Councillor Parfitt-Reid.
I was just going to wait for Clive to come back if he was just going to be brief, but obviously he's stepped right out. As
I think he's gone. Yes, he's gone.
Oh, he's sorry. Yeah. As you will all know, because this is a recurring item on our committee, the council adopted the 1,000 affordable homes in February 2022. Obviously, a lot has changed globally and obviously economically since we adopted this programme. But this report is the second annual update of this programme. Positive progress continues to be made in terms of the following. The council now has 277 residential units in management, of which 29 are affordable. The council has created and established a new business and housing development team, which is performing well. The team has developed a strong pipeline of schemes totalling 605 homes, and further schemes will come forward for approval in 2024. The report sets out the current operating environment dealing with the various risks and opportunities. The report also sets out the status of our bid to Homes England for social housing grant and seeks approval to enter into the eventual funding agreement with them. The report also sets out how our overall strategy will flex in the short term to focus on the following areas. Land banking to secure more opportunities while the land market is relatively depressed. Partnership working with the council to de-risk some of these larger sites that we've got coming forward. The report also states that the quantum of internal subsidy per affordable homes built, the Housing Investment Fund, should remain unchanged. So thank you, and we'd happily ask any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkinson.
Regarding the affordable housing quota, what is classed as affordable housing? Is it like 80% of the market, below the market? Okay, thank you.
Councillor Springett.
Thank you. I think this is a very good report. I think it's such a difficult situation we're in at the moment. We've got such flux in interest rates, such flux in house prices. We've got, you know, people still very much in need of homes. So I think this is a very, very difficult area for the council to judge, but I think we have to forge ahead with it. You know, we've made the decision to do these homes and try our best to help our residents. So I'm happy to propose as per the papers, but I think it's a good report in difficult conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. William Cornell.
Yeah, just to add to the response from Councillor Parfitt-Reid, the sort of base position is that we will deliver homes for affordable rent, but they will be capped to the local housing allowance. And I'm keeping the portfolio holder advised of this situation as well. As we progress our bid to Homes England for the funding for the first swathe of projects, we are exploring the possibility of converting or actually delivering some of the homes for social rent as well, which I think everyone is, you know, would see as the optimum outcome if we can deliver that within the same cost envelope. So we are making positive strides on that, and we know that's the kind of collective will of all the councillors, I think, that we can make the homes as affordable as possible.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to add to that? Councillor Jeffrey.
Thank you. I'm broadly happy with the reports. A couple of brief points and then a question. I'm firstly, brief points. Obviously not keen on Heathlands, but hey, it's in there. Second brief point. It always amazes me when I look at charts like the one on page 47 with the sunny house prices rising and the rain drops because house prices are falling, and yet we have conversations about the unaffordability of housing. Actually, you know, that kind of says the wrong thing to me. I know there are problems with falling house prices, but there are even bigger problems with rising house prices. So it just sort of smacks us continue a narrative that is very unhelpful. My question, I think, is on 1.14 on page 46 around construction. And whilst I know, obviously, these are going to go through planning committee and so forth, but I can't see much on here other than meeting national standards that take us over and above national standards. And I'm thinking particularly around insulation. If we are making them truly affordable, then heating them is really important because, as everybody knows, heating bills are crippling for many. So are we going to go over and above national standards and make sure that people have houses that are cheap to heat?
In terms of the chart you referred to, obviously that's in there from one of the property forecasters, so that's Savills, that's not Maidstone, but it was you know, it's a credible source of information as to where property values could be, you know, moving over the number of years. In terms of housing standards, we do have the Future Homes Standard coming in, which is an uplift to building regulations. So it's kind of, so as schemes sort of fall into that enhanced set of building regulations, so you know, the sort of journey towards carbon neutrality of new homes continues. So I think when just to give you an example, two sites that the council owns, Maidstone East and Springfield Library, they're likely, both planning applications both schemes are planning applications in at the moment, likely to be determined probably at some point in the next 6 months. Because of the timing, those schemes will fall into the Future Home Standard, and they will then be at the next level. And I think that's broadly what you're looking for, Councillor Jeffrey, in terms of they will be all electric. They will be supported by communal air source heat pump systems and enhanced insulation. So we are very much on that journey, I think it's fair to say.
I just wanted to add as well, I was speaking to my brother today because he actually works in the construction industry. He's a land buyer, and he was really talking to me about there has been a massive increase in construction costs, especially over 4 stories, because of new building regulation that's coming in. So we have to obviously be mindful of things like that as well. But you know, sometimes new regulations work in our favour and sometimes they don't. So, but yes, so it's just bear that in mind as well.
Thank you. Councillor Springett proposed a motion to accept the report. Would anyone else like to make another proposal, or do we have a seconder for? Thank you, Councillor Hastie. Can we move to say all in agreement with the proposal? Thank you. Thank you very much, councillors. I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you.